Well, we waited 2 months for this, but finally, we have content. At least temporarily. 2 days ago a new roadmap arrived, and once again that gave us the chance to guess and predict the new champions that are about to come. So without further ado, let's dive right into the roadmap of April 2022. It begins by saying, and I quote, "It's been a while since Renata Glask took onto the Rift." I couldn't have said it better myself, I've had no lore to cover for the past 2 months. After that they give us a brief recap of what they mentioned during the last roadmap, such as the fact that they are slowing down the production of new champions to make sure that each and every one of those new champions are good, which also means that they will likely not release a new champion for every role this year. This was also the case last year, where they only released 4 new champions. They also mentioned that they don't know how many champions will launch this year, but they do believe it should be similar to last year, so 4 or 5. They then mentioned that they feel confident about the new champions they are working on, and that was followed by them revealing that they will talk about the new VGUs and a new thing they call a CGU. But that's it for the summary, so now let's get into the core of the post. Jumping onto the first new champion, of course we are going to talk about the new Voidy champion, which we have known about for quite some time because they were originally revealed in Malzahar's story. And that happened 4 months ago. All we know is that people are being brainwashed into worshipping this new champion, and that all those people call her the Empress. She's also supposed to be a big rival for Rek'Sai. When talking about this champion, Riot mentions that they have something inevitable and foretold in the works. Which makes sense, Malzahar foretold their arrival. But then they use the word beautiful. I really hope this has a hidden context, otherwise I'm going to lose it. They then call her the new Jungler Skirmisher, which everyone will submit to. And those willing to do so will be rewarded with the Lavender Sea. Of course, that's the Void. And they say that it will crush the enemy's defense structures. Knowing how Riot writes these posts, this sentence is teasing the fact that they will have some kind of an ability that will siege turrets. You know, the turrets are the defensive structures. Which sounds like an interesting idea for a jungler. But then they mention that the Empress feeds on your essence so that you can become part of the new evolution of Runeterra. This may be teasing the fact that whenever she kills an enemy player or anything in the jungle, it will drop an essence which she will then collect. Which also means that she might evolve over the game. This does fit the overall design of the Void champions. Kha'Zix is a walking evolution, Cho'Gath is growing because that's supposed to be the evolution, he's just really old, and someone like Vel'Koz is disintegrating people for information. So the new Empress collecting essence to evolve makes sense. It fits the Void. But then they mention that if you succumb, you will witness her true elegance, her true beauty, and the true face of the Void. Now the true face of the Void is actually a Watcher. I don't think that's gonna be the case. But this may be teasing what she actually is. It feels like she starts as a sexy champion, but over the duration of the game, she becomes monstrous. Now either this is the case because she herself evolves, or something happens and we see through the illusion. So maybe she will be a monster. The logic suggests otherwise, however. As the Void creatures consume, they also adapt to whatever they consumed. So since in the story it was revealed that the Empress is consuming a lot of people, she should become more human-like as she is collecting the essence. So she can also start as a monster and become sexy champion at the end. At the end of this part they mentioned that they already submitted in January, which is when that story was revealed. And they mentioned that while there wasn't cake, they still had a good time. This may sound like a totally random thing, but this is actually a reference, maybe, to the Portal song called Still Alive. This was a triumph. So yeah, the Empress might be summoning Voidy portals. So, is she going to be another sexy champion while everyone is waiting for a new monster? I hope not, but I think she will be. She will most likely have both a monstrous side and a sexy side. Riot's reasoning is going to be, well, she's using her sexiness to lure in more worshippers. Or, well, her sexiness is not real, it's just people being brainwashed. Which, to be honest, sounds cool, but if it happens, it will feel forced. And people will see right through it. But hopefully I'm being wrong and her sexy side is actually pulled off really well. But that's it for her, so now on to the next champion. This one is teased by a short story that comes from Bilgewater. Specifically, it is told by Oyster Bill, who is running the Oyster Bill's Oyster Shack. And he's talking about a new mysterious stranger. Apparently, this stranger is living right above the shack and he is constantly joyously laughing at everything. He is joyously laughing even during the bar fights. And specifically in this story, he beat up some Noxian soldiers in Bilgewater. And it is mentioned, as you can see in the picture, he leaves behind strange glowing puddles. Personally, I hope this is going to be some kind of a slug humanoid. But Bilgewater has quite a few cool creatures already, so it should be some kind of a monster hybrid. And I have to say, those puddles do seem to have similar colors to the hand teaser from the last update. We are not sure if these two are teasing the same champion, but it is possible. Lastly, I should mention that this stranger is from the land of 1,000 colors. And they came to Runeterra from across the sea. The issue is, Runeterra is the entire planet. I don't think this means that the new champion is an alien, I think it is just a legit mistake on Riot's part. You see, the continents all have their own names. There is Valoran and Shurima and Ionia. Runeterra is not a continent, however. So I have no idea how he traveled here from across the sea. Regardless, the colors suggest that either he may be from Ishtal, or he may be from Ionia, or he may be from Kamavor. Because if you remember, back in the Sentinels of Light, we did actually see Kamavor there, and it did look quite colorful. I don't think they are going to be that civilized, however. When you look at the bar, it kinda looks like claw marks. Anyway, that's it for the next champion, so now on to Udir. Here we have learned that base Udir is pretty much done. Now, most of the focus is on Spirit Guard Udir. They are trying to make sure that this skin really feels like an ultimate skin even in 2022. And to achieve that, Riot is doing something really clever. They are giving Spirit Guard Udir the original animal stances. So, he will have the tiger, bear, turtle, phoenix, instead of the ram, bear, boar and cryo phoenix. That is an excellent idea, I just like the fact that they kept his wooden shoes. But that's it for Udir, so now onto the CGU. Here Riot revealed that they've been dealing with a new kind of a problem. Aurelion was extremely popular when he released, and then after a couple of games, most people dropped him. This means that visually Aurelion is really popular, but people just don't really like his gameplay. Now in the past, people may know that Riot tried to tweak his kit and make him more player-friendly. But overall, he is still in the niche category. And that's all happening while he is still popular visually. So Riot finally stomped down and they decided to just completely rework his kit. And that's why they announced the Comprehensive Gameplay Update, or CGU. This is going to give Aurelion the same kind of treatment as someone like Urgot or Sion. But it's only going to be focused on his gameplay and not his visuals. They mentioned that they will try to keep the theme the same, so there will be some kind of a dragonfire and stars will be involved. But the new Starforger will feel like a brand new champion. In my opinion, if you know that Aurelion is popular visually, don't do anything crazy. Let him be the monster champion for everyone. So instead of his circling stars, just make his Q a starfall. He waves a hand and a star falls down. Then it alternates, he waves the other hand and a star falls down from the other side. And every third Q, both stars fall down at the same time. I don't know, I'm just making things up. But you know, just make him simple, make him the set of the monsters. This will show you that monster champions can be popular. But that's it for Aurelion, so now onto the very first update for Skarner. Here we learned that Riot has not officially started working on Skarner just yet, but their concept artist was a huge fan of Skarner, and so he already jumped on the art. So here's what we got. The first two rows are just basic Skarner, but made better for the new 2022 standards. It's Skarner, but the focus is on giving him fantastical elements. From these, I actually like all of them. I especially like the wings for some reason, but I also like the bulky defensive one, because that's what Skarner has always been. From all of these, if there is one that I would like Riot to avoid, it is that one. That is pretty much just Skarner, but with more details. It's just a scorpion and there's nothing special about him. That may also apply for that one. Then we go a bit more crazy, because the third row gives him a unique spin. This one has the idea of completely rebooting the Breckern. And now Skarner would be an ancient Shuriman construct. with the idea being that the crystal is holding the souls of elite Shuriman soldiers. While I really like the idea of a construct, I really don't like the idea of the Breckern essentially being people now. You can't use Shuriman soldiers for the crystals, that would be far too much of a change. But if they keep the Breckern as scorpion people, then sure. You see, the lore of the Breckern can technically be rebooted. The only champion who relies on the lore of the Breckern is Skarner, and Skarner is getting reworked. Even during the Rune Wars and even in Piltover, no one really cares who the Breckern are. And if you change their origins, nothing's gonna change. You can't do the same with, for example, the Darkin. There are far too many champions relying on the Darkin lore. But with the Breckern, yeah, you can retcon them. I wouldn't be a massive fan of it, but yeah, you can do it. And then we get to the last row, which is a continuation of his lore. This is basically what would happen if they took Skarner's crystal and they jammed it into a new Hextech defensive prototype. The story would be that Skarner would somehow break free, he would take control of this Hextech Guardian, he would escape and he would start a new quest where he's trying to destroy the city for enslaving his people. I love this so much for multiple reasons. First of all, with the Hextech visuals, it would kinda play towards the arcane audience. But also, story-wise, this would finally officially mark Skarner as the main rival for Seraphine. And there are some people who would really love that. In my opinion, both the Shuriman construct and the Hextech version can work. But I like the Hextech version a bit more. And this takes us to the final part of this post. The outro. Here they revealed that the title of the new champion after that would be the Pride of Nazuma, with Nazuma being a brand new unexplored region in Shurima. Now, Nazuma is not gonna be a brand new region, but it is going to be a sub-region. Looking at the art with the waterfalls and the sandy mountains, I think it is going to be right next to the river between Ishtal and Shurima. But it might also be deeper in the Kumungu jungles, because if you look at the map, you can see that there are some unexplored areas that don't belong to any region. It is also where Zyra is, and Zyra is kinda killing everyone, but hey, that's where the region can be. Now, looking at this place, you can see that it is actually quite colorful. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Bilgewaterian champion was from here, and they were going to tie this champion into the story later on. This wouldn't be the first time Riot would try something like this. But lastly, I really like the blades they have on their backs. But that is it. While this latest champion is most likely going to be a human, and Udir is getting his rework, most of this roadmap may be focusing on more monstrous champions. We have the gooey stranger in Bilgewater, we have a new rework for Aurelion, and then there is the Empress. You know, beautiful Empress. Riot, I swear to God, no event size can redeem another sexy Void champion.